Okay, by popular request, I'm going to create an EDM drop from start to finish, and it's going to be in a slap house or Brazilian bass style. As usual, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, and you can download all of the project files and the samples and presets completely free below this video. Okay, without further ado, let's hop into the door and get it done. So the first thing that's really important is getting the bass line, obviously. So we're going to create this in Serum today. So first thing we're going to do is select a spectral Monster 2 wavetable, and we're going to tweak the wave position a bit to make it a bit more aggressive. Let's get a second oscillator. Add some unison just to a normal saw wave. This is just to thicken up the whole thing. And then we're going to apply some envelope. We'll use the second envelope to the filter because the first one's assigned to the amplitude. So let's drop that there. But we just want it to the kind of one side of where we've set the cutoff. So I've just used Option and Shift in the Mac to change that. Now let's listen to it. Now we need to tweak this envelope, so make it a bit plucky, get that slap bass sound. Okay, we're not a million miles away already. So the next thing I'm going to do is add a bit of sub. Just add more harmonics basically. And I'm going to send that to the filter as well. Next thing we're going to do is add a bit more slap to it. And the way we're going to do that, using these two cameras is weird, but I'm sure I'll get used to it. We're going to use a third envelope, and we're going to make it super short and tight, and like just a few milliseconds, like 10 milliseconds. And we're going to assign this to the coarse control on each of these oscillators. And again, we just wanted to go from the midpoint upwards, so I'll use the same technique of Option and Shift. Let's assign that to the second oscillator as well. So check out what this does. It's actually a really quick pitch bend, but it gives it more pluck. So this is if I make it longer. But you can hear, if it's a really short pitch bend, it gives it pluck. Okay, let's put some effects. Hyperdrive, just to kind of widen it a bit. Then we're going to add a little bit of compressor to get some more punch. And then we turn it down so we don't get clipping on the master channel. And that's pretty much our bass. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make everything below 120 Hertz mono by using this button, just to make sure we don't have phase issues. Okay, next thing, let's get that bass line in. I'm going to use the key of A minor natural as usual. So you can use my template technique. Just draw in all of the white notes from A. There we go, up to A. And this is a super simple way to write dance music, guys. Then you can duplicate them down an octave and up an octave. And then when you press fold, you've got 3 octaves of A minor natural. So you see we're just working with the white notes. So it's really easy. You don't need to get confused, anything like that. So let's get this bass line in. I'm just going to select them, move them outside the clip so they don't get in the way. And now I noticed in Slap House you've got lots of kind of variation in the pitch in the bass as well, or not lots, but I'm just going to make every other note up an octave by holding Shift and pressing up. Cool, so now let's add a bit of swing to that. I'm just going to go to the groove pool. I'm just going to choose a bit of swing for this, drop it on the bass line. And let's get a kick in there ASAP. And I'm going to turn the kick to -6 to make sure that we don't get distortion. Okay, there's too much groove there, so I think I know what I did there. I need to choose a 16th rather than 8th. So there we go, 16th there. Try again. Cool, so there's our slap bass. Next thing we need to do is get some claps in there. Listen to something really short and snappy. There's one. There's another. Let's layer them together. So really short and snappy. Now to get more pump, let's add a sidechain compressor to that bass, super quick. I'm already rocking this, cool. So we just choose the sidechain input from the sidechain channel here, which is just a trigger track for our sidechain compressor. Okay, I've got a really cool trick I want to show you now. It's adding more interest to the bass line with a reverse bass. So if we go to this last note of the bass line, I actually want to make that reverse. So what you can do is, if you're using Logic, you can just do bounce to audio, but in Ableton, I'm just going to create a new audio track, choose bass as the input, and then just record that one note in, like so. Now what we can do is just use this note, and all I'm going to do is consolidate it and press R, which is going to reverse it. And now we're going to use it here instead of this note in the bass line. So it gives it that cool kind of reverse sound. And then we're going to do some arrangement and some processing and some more cool stuff with the vocals, so stick around for that. Don't forget, let me know if you're enjoying this in the video below. Give me a hell yeah or an amen, brother. And don't forget to leave a comment and download this gosh darn project. That's the score. Okay, the next thing I think we need is some vocals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select some from Splice. It's really easy because we can just go vocal. Then I'm going to do A minor because we know that's the key in which we're writing it. And it's a good idea to just listen to the track looping whilst previewing samples, just to try and find the right sound. Just find something that you like. That's cool. That's cool. We're going to use something really kind of sweet sounding. And it's worth noting this if you're going to do a remix as well. You can see here that this is 154 BPM. So it says that because Splice lets you know what BPM it is. So it's important that we turn off warp, re-warp it, make sure we put in the correct number, which is 154, choose Complex Pro because that's the best for vocals, and then it's going to be in time with our tune now. But I can see the vocals don't start for ages, so I'm going to kind of drag it across. But it's a bit slow, so what you can do is kind of half the speed. Yeah, that's cool. So what I'm going to do is stick a sidechain compressor on there as well. Cool. Okay, onto the groove now. So I'm going to find some drums, some top loops and stuff to add some interest. I'm going to use Splice for this as well. So if we look for, I don't know, Cashmere packs are pretty popular. Cashmere top loop. Obviously take out those tags for female because it's a drum loop we're looking for. No key. Cool. So let's drag that in. Cool. And then we want this to build up, so we're going to add a shuffle as well. Okay, shuffle. What I'm going to do is I'm just using Splice should pay me for this basically. I'm using Splice today because that's how I'm feeling. So let's go shuffle. No, let's go shaker to get something that's kind of. This one will probably be quite cool, and this will kind of go underneath it. We just need to make it a bit tighter, so I'm going to take the first beat in a bit. Cool. Okay, so let's quickly duplicate that, and then we're going to work on a break, and then we're going to do some cool stuff with the vocals. So I've just duplicated it 4 times. This is going to be our drop here. So the drop's going to be just the kick and the clap. Okay, but for that vocal, let's duplicate it. I'm going to turn it down a bit because I want to have another one, and I'm going to put one of them up an octave. So 12 semitones up. So this is the top one. Just to add more texture. Okay, so for the break, what I'm going to do is use the same bass notes, but I'm going to choose a different bass. So let's create another bass sound from scratch, and I might make an EDM tip sample and preset pack. Actually, let me know in the comments. Just say samples, baby, if you want me to make a sample and preset pack for EDM tips. Okay, so we're going to call this break bass. Color that yellow as well, and we're just going to do another one in Serum, as that's what we're already using today, guys. So let's start out fresh. Let's make a nice respace. So add some unison, less detune, add some filter, take it down a couple of octaves, add some portamento, and it's as easy as that to make a kind of respace. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a filter envelope again to the filter, and I'm going to just make it kind of slowly fade in to give it a swell feel. And reduce. And let's add another oscillator. Let's get some kind, we'll use the same spectral one actually, Monster 2. Make sure it goes to the filter. Take it down. And this is just to add more interest. Then I'm going to add an LFO to that with the wavetable position just to get some movement. And let's add some reverb to that. I'm just going to use the auxiliary channel and make sure that we've got the low end rolled out from below on the bass to kind of give it more, to make sure we don't run into problems basically. So let's take those vocals into the break and then have the bass line as well.
Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings.
I think I might use a different bass line. It's going to be in the same key, so don't worry. It's just using those white notes still from A minor, but I'm going to just change it up a bit. That sounds better. Cool. So the beauty of this template technique is if you just go in, stick to the same template, you can't go wrong.
Don't know how, but now.
So if we just stick to the white notes.
Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings. Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings. Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings.
That sounds nice.
Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings. Don't know how, but now I'm healing.
And then the build would be here, coming in, which we'll do in a minute.
Don't know how, but now.
In fact, for the build, you might just stick it on one note and hold that for the whole of the build. So let's do that. I'm going to work super quickly now. And then we're going to add a melody as well.
Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me.
Okay, let's get some build-up drums in. So I'm just going to use Splice again. Yes, thanks, Splice. I will accept £1 million from you for promoting your lovely service. So let's... I'm joking, guys. That would be amazing. Okay, like, I'm just going to keep this simple so we can work quickly.
Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me want.
Let's get some rises in there.
Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me want. Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me want to show my feelings.
But we'll have a drop before there. A break. And then it's going to hit that drop like a bad boy.
Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings.
On to the next bit, which is the melody. So again, let's just use Splice for this. I mean, let's use Serum for this. Okay, let's look for plucks.
Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings. Don't know
Just
how,
experimenting.
but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings. Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show
Let's see how
my
it goes.
feelings. Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings. Don't know how.
That's cool, like it's simple, but we'll record that for now. I told you I didn't know how it was going to turn out.
Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings. Don't know how.
Cool, so that's our melody. The first one anyway, we could make a second one if this isn't strong enough. Just going to select them all, quantize so they're bang on. And we could even have that in the break as well and add some atmosphere so we can add some reverb to it.
Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings. Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings. Don't know how, but now I'm healing.
So for this break bass, actually, when it gets to that low bit, that's a bit low. So let's put it up here.
Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings.
And we're going to fade that out with some EQ because we don't want all that bass in the break because it's going to detract from our drop.
Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings. Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings.
And then for this last bit, let's make the voice go really low. So we're just going to delete that bit.
You make me wanna show my feelings.
Show my feelings. That's how we're going to come in. So we might even delete these vocals from the drop. So then you've got that nice contrast. So let's turn this down 12 semitones. And the formants too, because that sounds weird. Like this. So that's our drop.
It feels like you make me wanna show my feelings.
I'm not sure about that that lead. Let's duplicate it and then layer it up. So let's find another one. Maybe just go to leads. Turn off that. Add some portamento. That's kind of slap housey. Cool, so now let's tweak this pluck. Because the impact's a little bit off. Because it's like a... I might just take everything across slightly. So it's just before the beat. So it means that the click is now actually hitting on the beat. So we can also apply this swing, which we should do because it's applied to the bass as well. So I'm just dragging that over. All right, let's do it. Let's get some pitch bend builds as well for that break. Riser, let's look it up. I mean, that does everything you need, doesn't it? What can I say? Might get rid of the other ones.
Don't know And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings.
Make sure it's warped to the correct tempo though, 128.
Don't know,
Whoops.
don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings. Yeah, you make me wanna show my feelings. Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings. Yeah, don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings.
Show my feelings.
Don't know how, but now I'm healing.
What I'm going to do is put more reverb on.
Show my feelings.
More reverb on the
Don't know how, but now
But-
I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show.
and I'm not going to have that top lead happening in the break, only on the drop to give it more power. So
Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings.
let's add more reverb to the vocal.
Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings. Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings. Don't know how, but now I'm healing.
Let's have a sweep as well. I'm just going to go to my samples there. Got to have a sweep, baby. And then atmosphere sweeps up. It's good to know your sample banks well, because it just makes working so much quicker. Here we go. Let's stick that in there. Turn off warp. And let's just
Show my feelings.
put it into place.
Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings. Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings.
Show my feelings.
Then I want that. So let's add something in there, some kind of percussion. Go to splice. I'm just going to put percussion. See what we come up with. One shot, and this will. Yes, I like that cowbell. Right, cowbell on every beat, nice and not too loud. And then on the last one, we'll have a different drum.
You make me wanna show my feelings.
Show my feelings.
Now I'm going to add a drum intro just at the end of that too, to give it some more impact. So I just go to my drum loops, drum rolls and intros. That's cool enough. 128 BPM, make sure it's warped to the correct speed.
Show my feelings.
Make me wanna show my feelings.
Show my feelings.
That needs to be louder though. Doesn't matter if it's clipping, because I actually want that distorted sound there, and it's so quiet in the mix.
Show my feelings.
Cool, now we need a little, whoops, wrong camera. Now we need a little impact on that drop.
Now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings.
Show my feelings.
Cool, so let's add some sidechain compression to those melodies, just to make them pump. And all we're going to do for the impact is use a really, you could use white noise, you could totally use white noise, but I'm going to use a really short, sharp cymbal clap, cymbal splash, sorry. But again, it does the same job as the white noise. So I just want a really short one. Keep it quiet.
Show my feelings. Show my feelings. Show my feelings. Show my feelings.
just to give it a tiny bit of impact. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That is, oh no, let's listen to the loop, because I'm not sure those loops are going to work so well. So let's listen to it all the way through and add stuff as and when we need it.
Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings. Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like you make me wanna show my feelings.
I'll add some effects on top of that.
Don't know how, but now I'm healing. And it feels like
I know what we need. We need two things for sure. Absolutely, guys. We need an impact there. Boom. To add some low end. That'll do. Bit mental, but you know, whatever. I might take the high end out of that. We just want the low end on that. So EQ 8. Let's take out some of that high end. So it's just a boom. Okay, we're going to have one synth riser that we're going to make ourselves, and I'm just going to use Serum for this as well. A pluck sound would be good. Let's make it from scratch. Short decay. And then we're going to just repeat the root note of the track on every eighth, and that's A. And then double it up for the last bit. I'm gonna sneeze. Control. So now let's get this sound pitch bending, and then we're going to tweak it to make it sound cool. So on there we'll bring it up. We'll bring it up 24, so we can pitch bend it up 24. That's 2 octaves. Open this up, MIDI control, pitch bend. Let's bring it up, and then we'll bring it up big time at the very end. Why is that not? Oops. Okay, let's try again. Actually, I'm going to double that up beforehand, just because it felt like it needed it, like this. And now let's make this sound really kind of pop. So again, we can use some crazy wavetables, but let's just do it using unison. And add some reverb. You could even have a little cheeky kind of break there to tease people. But probably not. Probably not. And then you could add some interest here. So you just bring that one back in. And then bring that back. Copy that intro. Like, that's weak though. So that's where we might add our own drum in. That's cool. let's just add one more open hat to give it more punch there. Go drum hits. You can see, hopefully you can see how quick it is to come up with ideas when you really listen to the style of music you want to make and break down and know your sample packs, know how to use presets, know how to do sound design in Serum, stuff like that. Yeah, let's use a closed hat so it's nice and crisp. Why is that doing that? Come on, stop it. Yeah, that'll do. And then we're just going to put that on every other beat, just to add more snap to it. And then we want to add that extra shuffle. So we're going to do one more thing just to show how you can progress a song on from a loop. So let's just duplicate that second bit. And for the second bit, we're going to take this out again. We're going to add our own shuffle actually, because I couldn't find one. So shaker. And then in drums, we're just going to program it in. So we want to do this on every 16th. And we're going to play with the, and it's really quiet. It's going to be quiet, guys. Just on every other 16th. And it's going to interplay with the hats that are already there. So that's how you can add your own shaker. It's not that great. But to make it more interesting and give it some more dynamics, you could add a sidechain compressor just to those shakers. Or you could just find a better drum loop, which I'll probably do now anyway. But there you have it, guys. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know below the comments. Again, thank you so much for watching. Next week we will be going into some techno, because I know I've been doing a lot of house the last couple of weeks. So yeah, don't worry, we'll be going into that next week. I've got some more cool stuff coming as well, some giveaways. So stay tuned, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy, and don't forget to share with your friends if you think they'll enjoy it too. Nice one. Until next time, cheers and happy producing.